the sunshine. Thank you so much for bringing the warm weather and the sunshine. I am Pat Washington, and I am Vice President of Communications for the Urban League here in St. Louis, the #1 Urban League affiliate in the country. All right. So, I am so glad that you are here with us on, not just because it is a Black History Month celebration, but because this pandemic, we've lost so many friends, so many relatives. So just take a moment to thank God that we are able to be here and assemble on this day. So it gives me great pleasure to take this moment to introduce the President and CEO of the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis, and none other than Michael Patrick McMillan.
Good morning. It is truly a pleasure to welcome each and every one of you here today. I want to acknowledge Pat Washington, our Vice President of Communications. Please join me in giving her a big round of applause for today. Pat is her own moment in Black history as the only person who has ever been the editor of the St. Louis American, the press secretary for the first Black mayor of St. Louis, and the press secretary for the only Black county executive in St. Louis. So congratulations and thank you to Pat. For everything that she does for this community. I want to thank all of the Urban League staff and the volunteers that are here today that are prepared to serve 5,000 people with food, toiletries, and PPE materials. Once again, this is our 28th large-scale distribution where we have $250,000 worth of items that we are prepared to give to the community here in the city of Ferguson. So we are very grateful to each and every one of them for working around the clock to make all of the work of the Urban League even more impactful during this pandemic. But in addition to what we are doing today for the community, we want to honor these individuals here as part of Black History Month as a salute to African Americans in media who have excelled and demonstrated a commitment not only to the craft, but to the community as well. Please join me in giving them a big round of applause and thanks for what they do as we celebrate these titans of media. So for those of you who are native St. Louisans, your family probably did the same thing that mine did. So as a child, when Diane White would come on the news, as the first Black person to ever be on the news here in St. Louis, and when she would do the weather, Mr. Slaughter, when she would do the weather, when she did the weather, it was so exciting to Black people that we would run into the living room and watch the fact that a Black person was on television. And now you have all of these people here every day because representation matters, excellence matters. Seeing yourself in the media matters. And so we are so proud to honor these people today. And someone who is Black history in her own right is going to help me to do that, Ella Jones, the first Black mayor of the city of Ferguson. Today, as we sit in the city of Ferguson, knowing what the journey of that city has been, and here we are 6.5 years later, after the death of Michael Brown and the crisis in Ferguson, Ella now, of course, sits not only as the mayor for Black people, but the mayor for all people. And she is working hard to make a difference, to give back and improve this community and show how you can go from a tragedy to a triumph. So please help me to welcome Mayor Ella Jones.
Good morning. I would like to say thank you to each and every one of you all coming out to this great city of Ferguson. We are in the process continually moving forward. And to the honorees, some of you hold a very, very special part in my heart. I just have to say to Kelly, I have been over to her home of many a days, sitting and talking with her father and her mother about politics. It was her father that encouraged me to run for the Ferguson City Council. So I love Mr. Ted Hoskins. And to everyone, Ted Hoskins, to everyone, we thank you and we appreciate you coming out this day to support the Urban League in the 28th annual food event. And I say this because in the midst of the pandemic, so many of our children and so many of our seniors, they are hurting. And this is the only way some of them may have food this week. I was out giving food out last week, and my seniors, they're hurting, and I'm here today to say thank you to the Urban League for reaching out not only to the Ferguson community, but to North County and everyone in this area. Let's give the Urban League a big hand. We thank you and God bless you.
All right, I have somebody's phone. Is that your phone? Did you want your phone, Carol?
I'm recording.
Oh, I saw, do you need it, leave it here? She finished here, she said, I just needed a few little sound bites. Working even as you are celebrating. So, you know, they say, before I do this, let me just say something. Michael McMillan acknowledged me a few minutes ago, and I appreciate that, but I just need you all to know that when we were talking about what to do for this celebration today, he immediately said, as we close out Black History Month, I want to honor those people who work in the media, who work in communications, because they help us tell our story every single day. And so you all were personally selected by Michael McMillan because of your accomplishment. So I think that he deserves a round of applause for understanding that media have a job to do, and they do it, and we just want to let you know that history belongs to those who tell it. So we're going to tell your history, a little bit of your business today. All right, let's get this show on the road. All right, we're going to present some awards today, and I'm going to try not to tear up. The first one goes to my friend, Carol Daniel. Carol. I said I wasn't going to tear up. We go back to Cape Girardeau and Southeast Missouri State University. So Carol is a veteran journalist. She's currently serving as news anchor at KMOX Radio at Intercom St. Louis, but let me be clear. She makes it very clear that first and foremost, all accolades aside, she is a mother and a wife. Is Patrick here? Where are you, Patrick? Wave your hand. There you go. That's her baby. That's her baby. Her handsome baby. Her talented baby. Her husband. She and her husband are proud and exhaustive parents of two sons, Patrick Daniel Jr., he's a computer whiz, and Marcus Isaiah Daniel. Let me tell you how she got to St. Louis. The program director at the time of KMOX was driving to Memphis, and he heard Carol on a radio station in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. And he was like, I'm going to get that. And so he hired her and brought her here to St. Louis, and she has been it ever since. 2 weeks later, after he, I guess, made you an offer you could not refuse. And so he plucked that talent right on out of Cape Girardeau, and here she is. She's become the toast of the town, serving as an MC for some of our area's most prestigious events. She's passionate about helping young journalists and advocating for journalists of color in the newsroom and out. And she has served with distinction as the president of the Greater St. Louis Association of Black Journalists. She's published her first book, All I Ever Wanted, Relationships, Marriage, and Family. And are you still working on that children's book? Yeah. Children's book is still in the works. Please join me in celebrating Carol Daniel. It's good to have help. The Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis acknowledges the critical role media plays in educating, informing, and empowering our community. In recognition of your outstanding professional achievements, sustained excellence, and commitment to uplifting the St. Louis region, the Board of Directors and staff of the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis, Inc. presents you with this award of merit in recognition of your outstanding contributions in communications and media. You all are awesome. Our next honoree is my friend, Elliot Davis. Come on up here, Mr. Davis. You can stand right here next to me. I like right there on that spot right there. Most of you all know Elliot Davis as the host and the reporter and the investigator for KTVI Fox 2 News. You paid for it. He's distinguished himself as an investigative reporter. He has launched popular and ongoing investigations into government waste in our area, one of the area's longest-running franchises. His diverse career path, get this, led him to Fox 2 in May 1980 when he joined the station as a weekend writer and editor. He was selling newspaper advertising for the Suburban Journal newspapers before that. Elliot has received numerous awards for his effort, and he was inducted into the Regional Emmys Silver Circle in 2018. He won a Regional Murrow Award for Excellence in Social Media in 2019 for his work covering the plight of the homeless. And I know you all know his excellent work, but I can tell you that he is an excellent human being. Elliot really cares about issues in our region, and he's very compassionate, and he doesn't just report, he really walks the talk. So congratulations to you. Nathan Dixon is president of sales for Intercom St. Louis. In this role, Dixon oversees sales efforts for the company's St. Louis market, including, let me get all these together, Nate Dixon, how are you? 102.5 KEZK, 96.3 The Lou, 97.1 FM Talk, Hot 104.1, News Radio, 1120 KMOX, and Y98 KYKY. Dixon started his career in St. Louis as an account executive for both Sinclair Broadcasting and later Clear Channel, selling both alternative and country formats. So we want to celebrate. And Mr. Dixon, can I tell him he's a member of our board? Is a proud member of the Urban League Board of Directors. Thank you. Antonio recently joined the Post-Dispatch as an editorial writer, as an editorial columnist, and editorial board member. But he may be best known as the publisher of the advocacy newspaper Public Defender, who I remember as PubDef, right? Antonio also served as publisher of Metro, STL.com, the Northsider and Southsider community newspapers. Before that, he served 2 terms in St. Louis as the St. Louis Board of Aldermen, representing the 21st Ward, where he grew up. French gained national recognition for his work covering the unrest in Ferguson, Missouri in 2014, where he used social media to document the protests and the heavy-handed police response. For that, the Los Angeles Times named Antonio one of the 20 new civil rights leaders, emerging voices in the 21st century. He was also named in 2017 to Ebony Magazine's annual Power 100 list. So please join me in welcoming and celebrating Antonio French. Our next honoree, join me in, there's royalty and duchess and distinction in the house. Please join me in welcoming Lady Murdine Fielding Gales. As she comes, I'm gonna start reading because this could take a minute. Lady Murdine is a legendary media person. Look at all that personality. Media personality and gospel music leader known around the world. Lady Murdine is a native St. Louisan and a distinguished graduate of the St. Louis Public Schools. She attended Harris Stowe State University and is a graduate of Worldwide Bible College. Lady Murdine served as the host and producer of Expressions, which was the longest-running St. Louis television talk show which aired locally on Fox 2. Lady Murdine is co-host and executive producer of the Bobby Jones Gospel Show. She was a columnist for the St. Louis American newspaper, and she wrote for the Teamsters News for 20 years, Palm Magazine in Monrovia, Liberia, how many of you can say that, and Gospel Today. In her music ministry, Murdine has served as the national music leader and chief of protocol for the Progressive Baptist Convention. And on October 21st, 2006, she was inducted into the International Gospel Music Hall of Fame and Museum. She is also the president of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Holiday Committee and co-founder of the St. Louis chapter of Coalition of 100 Black Women and the proud owner of about a gazillion awards. Please help us honor and cherish Lady Murdine James.
Everybody say amen.
All right, say amen. Somebody. I don't know. Congratulations. Art Holiday is our next award recipient. He had a conflict today because, of course, he is the interim news director for KSDK, 5 on your side. But we want to make sure that we take the time and honor him and celebrate him because who knows, he might show up later and I don't want to be embarrassed. So, Art Holiday is the interim news director at KSDK, 5 on your side. Art Holiday's broadcasting career spans 4 decades in news and sports, including more than 40 years at KSDK. In December 2020, he was named the interim news director effective January 2021. Art started at 5 on your side in 1979, and he worked as a sportscaster until 1989 when he began a 22-year stint co-anchoring Today in St. Louis with Jennifer Blome. Besides anchoring, Art served as managing editor, and he was twice executive producer of morning newscasts. And he most recently co-anchored the 4 p.m. news with Case Quinn and Scott Connell. And besides his duties as a journalist, he is a wonderful documentary producer. There are 2 projects that he worked on, including his first documentary, Before They Fall Off the Cliff, which was accepted to multiple film festivals and is being used by the Crisis Intervention Team of St. Louis County to train police officers on how to de-escalate encounters with citizens who have mental illness. This is amazing. So let's send up a shout and a clap for, a hand clap for Art. He's not here, but we want to make him hear us. We want him to hear us. We want to thank KSDK for sharing him with us. BJ the DJ. All right then. BJ serves as on-air personality, program director, and community affairs director at iHeartMedia in St. Louis. He was born in St. Louis and started his radio career in 1985 at what was then Magic 108, and he was a mix show DJ. All right. He later became the music director for Mix 97.1 and radio personality for Magic 105, Magic 104.9, and 100.3. He also hosts the Heartbeat St. Louis podcast. If you've been to a party, been to a wedding, been to a club, been to an event, been to anything in St. Louis, inside, outside, around the corner, around the way, you've seen DJ. So we want to celebrate DJ for all of his work, especially the work that he's done with the Sister Strut Breast Cancer Walk. So he's married to his lovely wife, Gina. Is Gina here? And they have 5 children, and he loves riding his bike for like 40 miles every day. All right? Please join me in welcoming BJ, the DJ. Everywhere in St. Louis. All right, our next honoree, another dear friend, they're all dear friends of mine. This one just, happens to get in a lot of trouble. Andre Holman. Andre Holman. I love him. He's a native St. Louisan. He was born and raised, and I'm in Walnut Park. All right. Shout out for Walnut Park. Born and raised in Walnut Park, and he now serves as station manager for STLTV, St. Louis's local government access channel. I mean, STLTV is amazing. He started there as an intern in 1991, and he now holds, as I mentioned, the position as station manager. He's responsible for managing the day-to-day operations of the channel, providing video coverage of events hosted by city officials, agencies, and community organizations like the Urban League. He and his staff work hard to produce quality television programs. Andre has been responsible for producing some of the top local content of any station in St. Louis. STLTV has won an Emmy, several Black Journalist Awards, and National Telly Awards under Andre's leadership. Aside from his duties at STLTV, you can also find him operating the television camera at some of St. Louis' biggest sporting events, like former St. Louis Rams games, Cardinals and Blues home games. But I want to share with you one little thing. He is a Sumner High School graduate. Andre's first love was football, and he pursued that passion at Sumner High School, and he was known, move over everybody, as one of the best running backs ever to play at Sumner. He coached football at Herbert Hoover, he and his brother, 5 back-to-back Super Bowl championships. Coach Andre, come on over here. We're getting through this quickly. I thought it was going to take me all day. Please join me in welcoming my next honoree, the lovely Kelly Hoskins. Kelly is a local favorite in her role as reporter for KTVI, Fox 2, KPLR-TV. She's a St. Louis native, an award-winning and Emmy-nominated news reporter. She's earned her bachelor's degree at Fisk University, HBCU. She's an experienced news journalist with more than 20 years in television news. She is a veteran of both radio and television and has held positions in St. Louis and Tennessee. Prior to joining KTVI Fox 2 News, Hoskins worked at KPLR CW11 News as an anchor and reporter for 6 years. She was a feature reporter and producer with KDNL ABC 30 in St. Louis for 6 years, a freelance journalist with STLTV, and a writer and intern for WSMV, the NBC TV station in Nashville, Tennessee. She was also a desk assistant and intern for KMOX Radio. See, we just all work together. Hoskins' career has been highlighted by many awards as a producer and on-air personality, and she got an award included for her interview with former Vice Presidents Al Gore and former Secretary of State Colin Powell. She is the recipient of a Greater St. Louis Association of Black Journalists Excellence Award for her feature on the Tuskegee Airmen. Please join me in celebrating Kelly Hoskins. KSDK, 5 on your side's own Rennie Knott. There you go. I am telling you, I love the social media posts about your dogs, by the way.
Oh, that's all I can talk about.
Rennie serves as co-anchor on Today in St. Louis. He started at 5 on Your Side in 2004 as a sports director and moved to the morning show in 2016. Rennie was born in Hollywood. There's a black trivia fact for you. And after playing football and earning a degree from Southern Oregon State College, Rennie landed his first job at KDRV-TV in Medford, Oregon. After leaving Oregon, he made stops in Mobile, Alabama, and Washington, D.C. before moving to St. Louis. Throughout his career, Rennie has earned 3 Emmys and covered so many memorable stories, but he says the most exciting thing he's done was travel to South Korea to cover the 2018 Winter Olympics. Please join me in celebrating Rennie Knott. Please allow me to welcome to the podium my friend, the legend, the legendary Wiley Price, photojournalist for the St. Louis American Newspaper. I'm gonna get through this one. Whew. Wally has worked as a photojournalist for over 40 years. He's been at the St. Louis American now for over 25 years? 35 years. Some of those times he worked with me while I worked for him at the St. Louis American. Art Holliday and Wiley Price have both been recognized by the Greater St. Louis Association of Black Journalists as living legends, and that is honestly the truth. Price has taken many iconic photos, but one of his best, a photo of President Obama, ended up in a Smithsonian museum. There's a story behind that we'll tell you later. Wiley studied music at the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire and music and photojournalism at the University of Missouri-St. Louis. He got his professional start in photography as a freelancer at the Associated Press in 1982. And let me tell you that story. He got his first camera. His father, his namesake, bought him his first, what was that little camera?
35 Polaroid Swinger.
35 millimeter, 35 Polaroid swing. See, I don't even know what that is, but swinger camera, and that's how he got started taking pictures. So I really love that. I just love that your dad introduced you to that. So he got his start in photography as a freelancer for the Associated Press in 1982. As a freelancer, he made photos for the Post-Dispatch, the St. Louis American, the Kansas City Star, the Detroit Free Press, the Washington Post, and Ebony Magazine. Price was inducted into the Missouri Photojournalism Hall of Fame in 2012, along with his mentor, the late James Finley. He was named the 2016 Returning Artist by the Municipal Commission on Arts and Letters. He's received more than 80 awards for outstanding photojournalism, including from the Missouri Press Association, the Illinois Press Association, the National Newspapers Association, the Suburban Newspapers Association of America, and in 2009, he was named the NAACP's Most 100 Inspiring St. Louisans. Please join me in celebrating our own Wiley Price. Our next award recipient, Oscar Rayford, come on over here and join me. Please join me in celebrating our own KMOV photojournalist, Oscar Rayford. I've known Oscar for years, and he has been a fixture behind the camera in St. Louis, visually telling St. Louis stories for more than 20 years. Oscar loves helping young journalists and aspiring journalists, including his own son. Where's Bradley? Oh, Bradley's working. Bradley Rayford. And one of the things that I can tell you about Oscar Rayford is that he is the consummate professional. And he wants to not only tell the story, but he wants to tell the story and get it right. And he wants to make sure that the perspective is as it should be. So whenever I see him showing up on an assignment for something, I know I don't have anything to worry about. Please join me in welcoming and celebrating Oscar Rayford. Come on up here, Mr. Slaughter. We appreciate that. You made a special arrangement for today. You do need to be in the right light. Okay, I got you. Anthony Slaughter is the morning meteorologist for Today in St. Louis, 5 on your side. He's also had a love for meteorology. See, I said that. Growing up in St. Louis, he was the family's designated weather watcher, alerting them to dangerous weather in the area from the flood of '93 to epic snowstorms in the winter. Weather has always captivated him. Anthony has had a stellar career as a meteorologist and anchor, and we're glad he's back with us in St. Louis. He first came to 5 on Side as the weekend morning meteorologist in 2009. Then he moved to San Francisco. Then he came back here. We're very happy. And he worked as a traffic anchor on Today in St. Louis. And he was recently named meteorologist for the show. Anthony was part of the 5 on Your Side weather team, along with Jim, Castillo, Tracy Henson, and Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell. And they were recently certified as having the most accurate forecasts in St. Louis, get this, for the 4th consecutive year. He's a native of St. Louis and values time with his family. Please help us celebrate Anthony Slaughter. 4 years in a row, most accurate. Just ask. All right, our final awardee for today is Mr. Charles Chuck Spearman, the General Manager of WESL Radio. Chuck has had an outstanding career, includes over 30 years in the gospel music industry. He served as a radio and television gospel industry consultant, a special events consultant, and is in the Gospel Announcers Hall of Fame. He has served as president of the Missouri Gospel Announcers Guild and president of the International Gospel Announcers Guild. The International Gospel Announcers Guild is an organization comprised of gospel radio announcers and television broadcasters and the gospel industry professionals that come together in an effort to continue the growth of gospel music. And so we really appreciate his work at WESL, his work celebrating us as co-hosts of the Dr. Bobby Jones Show, and keeping gospel music alive along with Lady Murdine. So we are happy to celebrate the co-host for the Dr. Bobby Jones Show, Charles Chuck Spearman.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you some of St. Louis's finest. Please give them one more round of applause as we celebrate them. So we are going to take a group photograph. We'll get everybody to come in front of the podium, and we'll line up. We'll leave you to the care of Mr. Troy and Mr. Richard over here, and we'll get our group photograph.